Hi developers, in this video we'll learn how to create a pre-production environment for our database. The goal here is to run the migrations on the pre-production environment before running them on the production, so that we'll be able to detect errors and failures that might happen on the production. We'll detect them on the pre-production environment, so that we'll be more confident about releasing new versions of our application. So let's take a look at how this works in Azure DevOps. When we deploy migrations to the production database, then lots of failures might happen. The SQL script might not be valid and it might fail the migration. In addition to that, the data itself might cause the migration to fail because maybe it is misconfigured. For that, we'll go and create a pre-production environment so that we can test the migrations before running them on the production. Let's take a look at an example of the pre-production in a real-world example. For that, here I'll go to Azure DevOps, and from here I have created this pipeline that will deploy the app and the database to the dev test. But before deploying to production, then here I'll go and deploy to PreProd. If my PreProd fails, then I won't deploy to production. I will stop here. I will go and check the errors on my console. Then I will try to fix those errors and run again this entire pipeline until my pre-production succeeds. This will help me to prevent errors from happening in production. So let's take a look at the PreProd. From here, as we said, we'll start by creating the environment which contains the SQL Server instance. For that, here we'll be using ARM templates. So through ARM templates, we can tell Azure to create a new instance of SQL Server, and here it should be a SQL instance that have the same characteristics and the same configuration as the one in production, so that we can make the pre-production really similar to the production environment. After that, we'll go and deploy our web app. Here we might not need it if we don't have load tests, for example. Then we'll go and import the database from the production environment. For that, here we'll be using Azure PowerShell commands. And the command I'm using here is the one using new Azure RM SQL database copy. This one will connect to my database that is on production. Then it will try to copy it to my pre-production environment. When we say pre-production environment inside Azure, this means a new resource group. Once now we have the database in pre-production, maybe I can add or I can run scripts to mask the sensitive data about my customers. Then we can add that task right here. I didn't add it for this sample, but of course we can add that. After that, I go and run the migrations, and that's using the Azure SQL database deployment. From here, I'll go and pick my decpack file, which contains the new schema of my database. Then I will apply this new schema to the database in my pre-production environment. In addition to this task, maybe I want to add also the running the unit tests for my database or the integration tests to make sure that the SQL Server returns always the data that I expect to get. Once we are done, we'll go and delete this entire pre-production environment using Azure Resource Group deployment. I hope you liked this video, and if you want to learn more about pre-production environment, then I want to share with you that I have here created a new article on Medium called PreProd for Database, which walk you through more details on how to deploy and some good practices for deploying to the database.